Hello, hello. Sir David the Bard. I'm coming to you from Durham, North Carolina. I'm up here on the Duke University campus in the paranormal section, and that's where they said I needed to go, that I was paranormal. So, hey, I'm up here. I'm hiding in J.B. Ryan's old office. I knew him when I was younger. He's been dead now for years, but his desk is still here, and I'm just under the desk with my little computer and my green screen. Anyway, this is a video that is hard for me to do because I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, the rest of you are going to go, well, this is the 1000th video he's done that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Being bipolar, we can put things on the back burner and burn them for days, years, months. Here's the subject matter, okay? As I have looked at life, I'm almost 66 years old now, there's some inherently very, very strange things about human existence. Number one is gender. I have no idea what it's like to be a girl. And if you're a girl or a woman, you have no idea how a penis can run your life. Anyway, I've always come from a rich country, America. Always had enough to eat. And my wife, Mercy, has come from such a poor country that they seldom had enough to eat. I'm white and delightsome. Obama's a Negro, according to the Mormon Church. How do we gain all the experiences of life? Why should we come here and spend 70 or 80 years to learn just one gender, one job, one country, one language? That's a little bit ethnocentristic. I think that it is important, at least for me. I don't care about you guys. I don't give a shit. Anyway, I want to learn everything. I kind of like to learn what it's like to be a bird. Maybe even a tree. Well, how am I ever going to get those experiences from what we know down here with our science? It's not going to happen down here. The reason I'm atheist, one of the big reasons, is if there was a God, he certainly would have made his children more equal to food and to safety. When I take a look at the wars all over the world, historically and presently, and the children and old men and women suffering, I have to say, where the hell is Jesus? Is Jesus asleep at the wheel? All right. Now, I'm not going to tell you this is revelation from my 6 naked girls that appear from time to time and give me revelation for my atheist thinking. Pay me, lay me, and ail me, girls. And one of them did have wings. I was able to look up quickly and see that she had one wing at least. Then I looked right back down again. Anyway, here's what I think happens. I think we're in a long, long evolution of experience, knowledge, and power and ability. If you're president of the United States, how can you possibly know what it feels like to be a third world country child digging in the garbage for food? You can't. Okay, so I've made my point. I used to think a little bit that reincarnation would be a fair and equitable equalizer to this problem, because you can come back as a woman, come back as a president, come back as a pharaoh, come back as a peasant, and you would gain all of these experiences. Well, obviously reincarnation is a philosophical, religious idea that people have come up with trying to solve the same problem that I've come up with. It's not fair. It's not equal. I'd like to know what it feels like to be a girl. Anyway, here's what I think happens at death, and here is the equalizer. Here is the equalizer that I, to date, not tomorrow I could change. Don't lock me in. Don't lock me in. I could change. Excuse me, tomorrow. I think when we die, there is another creature in the area that we're migrating to from this earth that is a perfect soulmate. Now, I know this takes the Mormon church's time and eternity and pushes it where the sun don't shine, and that's where it should have been its entire existence. I think what happens, and I had a little dream. Okay, give me my hat. Where's my Joseph Smith hat? let me get some oh, this isn't the hat. Well, I see Revelation in there though. Anyway, I had a dream, and that's what started me on this process of thinking. And I love being bipolar because we just think and think and think, and we never get bored. Anyway, when I died, I rose up into, like a heavenly area, and there was one creature there. I think she, now I can't, well, I'm sure she, because I'm sure, she came over close to me, and she had this white, long, glowing, flowing, not a gown, but a presence. It's kind of like the end of a comet, you know, how it has a beautiful flow to it, and pure and white. And I, at the, at my feet and whatever, and starting at my knees, I guess, I was kind of that floating cloud, I don't know, sheet, whatever you want to call it. Well, when she came close enough, there was a magnetism that I'd never felt or seen before. Now, I've come close to it. I don't tell anybody this, but my second wife, Janet, she and I had a fabulous sex life. Good Lord, for 9 years, my weenie was happy, which is a hard thing to do. No pun intended. Anyway, Janet and I, and I'm just giving this to you to help you understand what I'm saying about this emerging into each other. Now, I think the only way we get that experience here in this earth and this life is sex. Janet and I, after whatever, 4 or 5 years, I don't think anybody knows shit about sex until they've been with a partner 4 or 5 years. Well, she and I developed the ability to come together exactly at the same time. Now, I'm telling you this secret because, I've been there. I've done that. And we would stare into each other's eyes, and I'm telling you, we went into another world that doesn't exist. Just unbelievable closeness. It was like an emerging and a coming together I've never seen before or since. And we developed that over 5 or 6 years, and that's hard to do. That's hard to do. If you can come exactly at the same time as your partner, you know each other pretty damn well. Well, that's the closest experience that I've had to this dream where these two creatures, and one of them was me, were starting to come together. Well, again, I hate to use the word woman or girl, but anyway, maybe it was. It had to be, I guess. So we came closer and closer, and there was a magnetism there that reminded me of the same thing that I've had sexually. We were going to merge into one being. And as I touched her and pulled her to me, it wasn't that she stopped at my chest. I pulled her into me. Into me. Now there wasn't two people. Now there wasn't two beings. I began to know at that point what it was like to be a woman. Because she had lived her life as a woman, and I had lived my life as a man. And the experiences, the feelings, the emotions, the attachments, the morality, everything was exchanging. So she was me, and I was her. That equaled us out in gender. Somewhat. Now, I'm not much of a chemist or an atom chaser. Maybe that's a storm chaser. I don't chase atoms or storms. Anyway, I've seen these complex molecule diagrams and pictures of how certain materials come together. You know, one or two, well, like nuclear, uranium-235, one of the protons drops off and causes a chain reaction, and they all chain up and they all change. Well, that happens all through biology and zoology and life, that there's constant groupings that regroup because of either gravity or heat or other kinds of external and sometimes internal forces. Well, the point is that I knew everything she knew, and she knew everything I knew. We were one. Now, that sounds like a pretty good heaven. It's more complex than that. Because other people were dying and coming up off the earth, and there was also other people already there. And as we merged, our molecules and atoms somehow sent off signals to another merged creature. Now, you're going to start to get the picture here. Me and her have wiped away one gender discrimination, but she was only a girl in her own right. Maybe other girls felt differently than she did. Well, what happens is that one, me and her, began to join another one and her. Now we have, you know, almost 4 times the information that we had. So we get a new experience. This guy may have been a king, or this guy may have been a pauper. I can learn from that. This girl was beautiful and young and healthy and sweet, and the first one that I got wasn't, and now that information has exchanged. And what happens, I think, is this continues. Now, does it sound like the morgue? The Borg? A little bit. A little bit. Because these creatures now can grow, and I don't think there's any limit to the size of the merging. It can be millions or billions, like atoms, you know, clumping together and exchanging all that information. Well, obviously then, we have every experience. We know everything about the man and life and the earth and whatever. Well, that's pretty neat, because now here's the other thing that has always bothered me. We can't seem to pass our knowledge on to the next generation. They have to seem to learn everything for themselves. If we could pass on what we've already learned into the brain of a child, you know, the child wouldn't be an idiot or rebellious or a tyrant. So, this fixes both problems. Fixes both problems. We now have all information that has ever been created between humans, and it's equalized out, being male, being female, rich, poor, black, white. It's equaled all that out. Now, here's what I think is more interesting than this process that I'm beginning to feel may be true. What about people or creatures or animals or whatever from other planets, other existences? Can they mix into that group? And my answer is yes, they can. So all of the times we've been looking out into space thinking, oh, what's it like for the Martians? We can merge with Martians and electronic people and magnetic people and whatever, and each one of those bonds, male and female, that comes together, bonds with the whole group, and before you know it, you know everything on every other planet, everywhere in the universe, historically, etc. Now, I still want to know what it's like to be a bird. There must be somewhere in this system that animals and amoebas and tigers, lions, and bears can move into the molecule that is being created in the billions and billions and billions, so that everybody in there gets to know what it's like to be a leaf on a tree and falling off in spring. No, they fall off in the winter. No, hell, they fall off in the fall. Anyway, this is my idea of continued existence as an atheist. I do think something goes beyond, but I don't think it has anything to do with good deeds and men that walk on water and men that resurrect themselves after 3 days of death, and you know, people eaten by whales, and oh my God, you know, what the things you guys believe is unbelievable to me. But anyway, I think this would be the great equalizer. I would know everything and you would know everything. Now, I would think that there's a certain amount of not free agency in who you merge with, but there's a certain amount of chemical or electronic or magnetism that allows you to merge. So if you have two very, very bright people and you have two stones of the earth, somehow they're not going to match. They're not ready. They're not going to match. So I think that these evolutions are part of our existence. So anyway, I really always wanted to know what it was like to have boobs. Maybe I'll know someday. I'll have to quit grabbing other people's. I can just grab my own. So anyway, this is my definition. Sir David the Bard, what happens at death? And if Jesus shows up and he has a sign-up sheet when I die, I'm screwed.